This building was completely abandoned. Or at least that's what we thought. No people, no sound, no signs of life. But the moment we stepped inside, the silence felt wrong, like something was holding its breath. By the time we realized we were being watched, it was already too late. Have you ever felt eyes on you, even when no one was there? That's the feeling we ignored when we stepped into that abandoned place. The building stood at the edge of the forest, half collapsed, swallowed by vines and silence. Cracked concrete walls leaned inward like they were tired of standing. Rusted metal creaked softly with every small movement of air. No lights, no sound, no signs of life. It looked completely dead, like the kind of place even animals avoid. Not a single bird flew overhead. Not even insects crawled near the entrance. Locals warned us not to go there, but they never explained why. Every time we asked, they changed the subject or laughed nervously. One old man finally said, "It looks empty, but it's not." That was all he gave us. We laughed it off. There were 4 of us, filming for the channel, chasing another abandoned exploration video. We'd explored dozens of places like this before: old houses, factories, hospitals. Nothing ever happened. This was supposed to be the same. It's just another location, another thumbnail, another story. The sun was already sinking. Behind the trees, when we reached the rusted gate, it barely moved when we pushed it, like it didn't want to open. The moment we crossed through, something felt wrong. Air changed instantly, thick and heavy, like it was pressing against our chests. Breathing felt harder, slower. I checked. My camera and the screen flickered for a second before stabilizing again. I blamed the low light, but deep down, I knew that wasn't the reason. Then came the silence. No insects. No wind. Not even our footsteps echoed properly. Every sound felt dull, muted, like the place was swallowing it before it could travel. Even our voices sounded strange, quieter, flatter, like we were speaking underwater. The deeper we went, the worse it felt. Every doorway looked too dark. Every broken window felt like an open eye staring back at us. Kept turning around, convinced someone was walking behind us, matching our pace perfectly. But every time I looked, there was nothing. Just empty hallways and shadows that didn't quite behave like shadows should. My chest tightened. A cold sensation crept up my spine. That's when I had the first thought I couldn't explain. Not a voice. It's not a sound. Just a sudden absolute certainty. Someone is already here. And whatever it was, it knew we had arrived. Inside, the building was strangely intact. Dust covered everything, thick enough to show every movement, yet some footprints looked fresh. They cut through the dust in uneven patterns, as if someone had been walking back and forth recently. We stared at them in silence, all of us thinking the same thing but refusing to say it out loud. Doors that should have been locked were slightly open. Not broken, not forced, just opened enough to peek through. A chair sat in the middle of a hallway, facing the wall as if someone had been sitting there, watching nothing, or waiting. The hallway smelled damp and old, like something had been trapped there for a very long time. Every step we took stirred dust into the air, making the flashlight beams visible like thin white smoke. My heartbeat sounded louder than our footsteps, pounding in my ears. We found drawings scratched into the walls. Not words, faces. Dozens of them, carved deep into the concrete. Long eyes, no mouths. Some were small, others larger, stretched unnaturally tall. Every face looked the same, and every face was turned toward the entrance. Toward us, a chill ran through my body, felt deliberate, like whoever made them wanted us to see that we were expected, that we were noticed. I lifted my camera closer, and for a moment, I thought one of the eyes had moved. I didn't say anything. One of my friends tried to joke, his voice echoing awkwardly down the hallway. He laughed right after, too loudly, too fast. The laugh died. Almost immediately, no one responded. My chest tightened, and a sharp pressure settled behind my eyes. I kept checking behind us, convinced someone would be standing there close enough to touch, every time. There was nothing. Then we heard it. A slow breath, not from any of us. It wasn't loud, but it was clear wet. Heavy, like someone struggling to pull air into their lungs. The sound came from somewhere above the ceiling, dragging and uneven, as if whatever was breathing didn't do it often anymore. We froze. No one moved. No one spoke. Even the cameras went still. The breathing continued for a few seconds. Then stopped the moment we tilted our cameras upward. Silence again. Too perfect. Too sudden. Almost like it knew we were listening. Almost like it knew we were filming. I felt it then, a presence. It's not something you could see or hear, but something that pressed against your thoughts. It's like being watched from all directions at once. My skin crawled, and every instinct in my body screamed that we were no longer alone. Whatever was inside this place wasn't hiding. It was observing, and it was deciding what to do with us next. As we moved deeper inside, the feeling became unbearable. Every hallway felt too long, stretching farther than it should. Every doorway felt like a mouth waiting to close behind us. The walls seemed closer now, leaning inward, trapping the light from our flashlights in narrow tunnels. My skin crawled, and I couldn't shake the thought that we were walking into something, not just a place, but a presence, something aware. The air felt colder the farther we went, sharp against our skin. Breathing became shallow without me realizing. No one spoke anymore. Even the one friend who never stopped joking stayed quiet, his eyes fixed straight ahead. I checked my camera out of habit. My stomach dropped. My battery had drained from 80% to 12% in minutes. There was no explanation for it. The camera wasn't old. We hadn't been recording that long. Yet the battery icon blinked red, like a warning we were meant to notice. Like the place was taking something from us, piece by piece. One room stopped us cold. It was at the end of a narrow hallway. The door already open, as if inviting us inside. The room was empty except for a single mirror nailed to the wall. Number. Furniture, no debris. Just the mirror, cracked from top to bottom, hanging slightly crooked. It didn't belong there. We stood in front of it without speaking. The glass reflected us clearly, at first 4 figures standing in silence. But then something felt wrong. When one of us shifted slightly, the reflection didn't follow immediately. It lagged, not by seconds, but by movements. I lifted my hand slowly. The reflection stayed still. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it. In my ears, I raised my hand. My reflection smiled. I didn't. The smile was wrong. Too wide. Too slow. It stretched across a face that hadn't moved at all. I stumbled back, nearly dropping the camera, and that's when it happened. Behind us, the door slammed shut. The sound echoed violently through the room, shaking dust from the ceiling. We spun around, rushing toward it, but the handle wouldn't move. It felt solid, locked from the outside. Panic crept in fast, tightening my chest, blurring my thoughts. That's when the whisper started. It wasn't loud, it wasn't clear, but it was close, right behind my ear. Warm breath brushed my skin as the sound slid into my head. It sounded like my own voice, repeating my name slowly, stretching each letter as if tasting it. Over and over, I covered my ears, but it didn't help. The sound wasn't coming from the room. It was coming from inside me. That was the moment we understood. Whatever lived here wasn't hiding anymore. It had seen us, it had learned us, and now was letting us know we were not welcome. We ran. Footsteps slammed against the floor as panic took over. No one shouted directions. No one asked questions. Instinct was all we had left, and it screamed, "Run." The beam of my flashlight shook wildly, cutting across walls that blurred past us. My lungs burned, and my heart felt like it was trying to escape my chest. The hallways twisted in ways they hadn't before. Turns appeared where there were none. Corridors stretched impossibly long, then ended abruptly. Doors led to rooms we'd already been in. Same broken furniture, same markings on the walls, same cold feeling waiting for us. Windows showed darkness where the forest should have been. Like the outside world had been erased, the building was changing, reshaping itself. Around us, every wrong turn felt deliberate, like we were being herded. Like something was guiding us deeper instead of letting us escape. The walls groaned softly. and the ceiling creaked as if the place itself was breathing. One by one, our lights began to flicker. First mine, then another. Each blink of darkness lasted a little longer than the last. Every time the light came back on, the hallway looked slightly different, longer, narrower, wrong. Shadows clung to corners where light couldn't reach, stretching and shifting even when nothing else moved. Then, my friend screamed. It wasn't a shout for help. It was raw and sudden, the kind of scream that comes from pure terror. We skidded to a stop and spun around. He was standing still, frozen in place, staring at the wall. His flashlight lay on the floor beside him, still on, casting light upward. His chest rose and fell rapidly, but his eyes were empty, locked on something only he could see. His shadow moved, but he didn't. The shadow peeled away from him, stretching unnaturally long, thinning like smoke pulled by an unseen hand. It slid across the floor, crawling toward us, shape bending and twisting in ways shadows shouldn't. My body went cold. We grabbed him and yanked him backward just as the shadow reached where he'd been standing. The moment we pulled him free, the shadow snapped back into place, flattening against the wall like nothing had happened. Suddenly everything stopped. No flickering lights. No shifting walls. Silence again, so heavy it hurt. That's when we saw it, the exit door at the end of the hallway. Wide open, moonlight spilling through it. Fresh air. Freedom. We didn't question it, moved toward it slowly, cautiously, like it might disappear if we rushed. Each step felt heavier than the last, like walking through thick water, but something was wrong. As we stepped closer, the feeling of being watched turned into something worse. Being judged, not with anger, not with hunger, with curiosity, like the place was deciding whether to let us go or keep us forever. And in that moment, standing inches from the exit, I realized something terrifying. We weren't running anymore. We were waiting for permission. We escaped just as night fell. The sky darkened the moment we crossed the gate, as if the sun had been waiting for us to leave before disappearing. The instant our feet hit the other side, sound rushed back into the world. Insects screamed from the trees. Wind tore through the forest, bending branches violently. The sudden noise felt overwhelming after so much silence. We collapsed on the ground, gasping for air, hands shaking so badly we could barely hold our cameras. No one spoke. Not because we didn't want to, but because we couldn't. Our throats felt tight, like the place had taken our voices with it. For a long time, we just sat there, listening to the normal sounds of the world, making sure they were real. We didn't look back. Later that night, safe at home, we checked the footage. What we saw made our stomachs drop. Most of it was corrupted, entire sections missing, audio distorted, frames frozen mid-movement. Some clips ended abruptly, as if something had reached out and shut them off, except one. A single file played. Perfectly, it showed us arriving at the abandoned place, laughing nervously as we walked toward the entrance. The timestamp was correct. The quality was clear. Then, as we stepped inside the building, the camera caught something behind us, standing in the doorway. A tall shape. Thin, completely dark. Like it absorbed all the light around it. Its body didn't. Looked solid. More like a silhouette cut out of the air itself. Two eyes reflected the camera's infrared light, glowing faintly as it stared, directly into the lens. It never moved. It didn't follow. It didn't attack. It just watched. We shut the video off and sat in silence. None of us wanted to admit what we were thinking, that the thing hadn't been surprised by us, that it had been waiting since that night. Strange things keep happening. Shadows linger too long, stretching even when the light changes. Mirrors feel wrong. Sometimes our reflections move just a fraction slower than they should. My friend swears he sees someone standing in his hallway when he wakes up at night, but when he turns on the light, there's nothing there. For me, it's the sound. Sometimes, when I'm editing late at night, wearing headphones, I hear breathing. Slow, uneven, too close. At first I thought it was background noise in the footage. But it happens even when no audio is playing. The breathing always stops the moment I Take my headphones off. The abandoned place may look empty, but trust me, something living there saw us, and I don't think it ever stopped watching. If you felt something watching you while listening to this, hit like and subscribe for more horror stories like this one. New videos every week. And remember, some places don't stay behind when you leave them.